Hey, you ever been to Chancellor Park? That's where I live. My name is Tavin Dillard, and I live in a trailer park called Chancellor Park, and I mow lawns. I'd like to introduce you to my town. I've been making YouTube videos since about 2006, and then I've transitioned over to other platforms like the TikToks and the whatnot. But here on this podcast, I'd like to clue you into what's going on with me here lately. And this is like the pre-introduction. Now I'm going to send it off to myself for the real introduction. I'm glad you joined me. Bink, bink.
Woo! Hey, y'all guys, did you know it's me? It's Tavin Dillard. This is season 2 of the Tavin Dillard podcast we jumping into today. Episode 11. And boy, we heading right into the end of this season. We doing about, I think, 14 episodes. And, you know, we do a little bit of math here on the Tavin Dillard podcast. And I'll tell you, if you're doing 14 or maybe 15, and you at 11, you're almost done. I mean, you ain't done, but you're getting closer. You're closer to that than you are to the beginning. And my name is Tavin Dillard. I'm mow lawns. I live in Chancellor Park. This indeed is a podcast. It ain't something like, I call it the Tavin Dillard podcast, but then it's really just like a video. It ain't a video. It's for your ears. And I've been playing the Winter League adult softball season. That's kind of been what season 2 has been, is me walking you through just kind of my goings-ons in town, as well as the season. Well, I mean, again, this season's almost wrapped up. It's kind of, kind of below the radar season, I'd call it. It ain't the prime time. It feels more like spring training, but we having fun, and we winning games. We 6 wins to 2 losses this adult Winter League softball season. That's quite a season if you ask me. But this week we found out that we had a bye week. Like, bye, see you later, goodbye. Like a bye week, that means you ain't playing that week. And Cricket, she brought soup to the concession stand. She was working the fields this week. Now, people did play softball this week, but Team Burger Shed did not have a game. We didn't have a scheduled game. And, I mean, if you keep up with the schedule, you'd know that already, but I didn't keep up. None of us on the team, we ain't looking ahead to where we playing in 2 weeks. It's kind of week by week. But I guess, the people that make that schedules, they knowed it was a bye week. We find out, when we looking around to play or whatever. So why does any of that matter? Who cares if Cricket brought soup to a concession stand, you may ask? Well, stay tuned. But I want y'all to know, as we heading in to the end, to the downhill slope, to the wrap-up, the conclusion of Season 2 of the Tavin Dillard podcast, we're going to have a question and answer coming up soon. Now, the short way to say that is Q and A. The Q stands for the questions, like you ask me a question, and the A stands for the answers, and I'll give you the answers. So you have a question answer about me, my town, what's going on, shoot me an email at tavindillard@gmail.com. I'll put that in the show notes, or you text me at my number, 501-322-6249. I'll put that in the show notes, and holler at me, though. Don't forget to holler at me and get them questions coming in, because I want to get them sooner than later so that I can record it. I record it a little bit ahead of time. After I got a week or two of questions coming in, then I get figured out what we're going to do on that Q&A podcast, which will be the last one of this season before season 3 of the Tavin Dillard podcast launch. That's how that go. First things first, or maybe second things second, third things third. I don't know. I feel like I already talked about a few things. So for me to say first things first, that's like I ain't said nothing yet. But I done said a lot, so wherever we at, I got a question for you. How was your week? I mean, I'm glad you found time to listen to me here this week in the middle of all the other stuff you might have on your plate. And speaking of plate, if you got a hot dinner roll on there, put some of Tavin's Honey from Bees on there and see what that does for you. I tell you, it's going to make your tongue slap your brains out getting to it. Who came up with that term, that I got a lot on my plate this week kind of thing? I got a lot on my plate. You heard that before. I know you have. The way I always understood that was like, it's a plate of food, right? I mean, when else do you have a plate? Rusty Tidwell's brother, he got a steel plate put in his leg when he was 4, or when he was a kid. I don't think he was 4. He was 4-wheeling, but he's probably, 8, 9 years old. But I don't think of that. I don't think that's what the saying means. Like, well, I got a lot on my plate, and you talking about a steel plate in your leg. You saying you gained weight and there's more pressure on your steel plate? There ain't no way that's what that saying means. Which leaves me with, a plate of food, right? But here's the thing. The way we say that, oh, I don't know. I got a lot on my plate right now. It makes it sound like you got a chore ahead of you, don't it? You know what I mean? Like when I think of a full plate, I ain't thinking about like a plate full of fish heads and sour liver that I got to work through, like it's some sort of gross chore. If that was what was for supper, I would not fill my plate in the first place. Tell you that right now. No, I have a full plate when it's fried catfish, hush puppies, fried okra, turnip greens, cornbread, butter, and save room for dessert. Cobbler, blackberry peach, some vanilla ice cream. Woo! Buddy, am I going to have to go walk away right now and get me a plate of food? Well, I'm getting hungry just talking about this. But ain't that right? Oh, my plate's full. Well, ain't that a good thing? I'm thinking that's a good thing, but when we say it, it ain't a good thing. I ain't saying stuff yourself, but you know how it is when you're hungry. It's easy to load up on that plate. I think the only way you saying that you got a full plate and it's a bad thing is if you ain't got nothing to put the leftovers in. Because then either you got to finish off that plate or waste the food. Only thing about that is fried catfish ain't as good the next day trying to heat that up. Probably. I actually don't know nothing about that because leftover fried catfish ain't never been a category I had to deal with. I put a hurting on that. I really do, y'all guys. So, you got a full plate? I mean, we talking about food, but then what you saying is that you ain't got room on your plate for nothing else. Don't give me a chicken leg, crinkle cut fries. I ain't got room. So I'm seeing it now. It's kind of coming. The picture's coming. I appreciate y'all helping me talk through this because I got to wrap my head around it. I want to know how you're doing, how your week's going, if your plate's full. So now I'm seeing it. So when I say my plate is full, I'm really saying I know you think that's a good idea for my life, and I understand you'd like me to help you put up a new shower curtain in your trailer for you and then move the old couch out and the new couch in and sit around for a while you tell stories, but that don't sound like a good idea to me. I got a lot on my plate right now. Well, I guess you could say some stuff got taken off my plate this week, truth be told. First, because I'm getting other work right now, I won't be volunteering weekly at the nursing home, maybe once or twice a month. That's the way we look at it now. And then our softball game, well, that got taken off my plate, as they say this week. I was thinking Thursday was going to be packed with my usual, lawn work, nursing home, softball. I got a couple new clients this year. Now we well into the month of March. It's nice adding folks to the roster, but, word of mouth, that kind of thing. Folks have been happy with my work. They told other people, so that's been good. So because of that, I did go meet my new clients. I worked out them details, and then I went to the nursing home mid-afternoon to help for my official last day. Like, oh, I can still drop in a little bit, but they ain't expecting me like they used to. I mean, I'll be, popping in and out. Well, it did not disappoint. Dewey Morton did that old teenager trick where you put pillars and blankets under the covers to make it look like somebody's taking a nap there, middle of the day, and then I guess he tried to make an escape. But here's the deal. Dewey's son and daughter-in-law, they brought Dewey back some sand from their trip to Myrtle Beach, and it was in a jar on his dresser. Well, when Dewey decides to escape, he decided he wanted to take that sand with him, but didn't want to carry the whole jar. You could see how that'd slow him down if he had a whole jar in there. So he fills his sweatpant pockets with sand. Only thing is, Dewey's pockets got holes. Not big holes like a whole donut wouldn't fall out of it, but holes that'll let sand out. That kind of thing. Them little holes. So they asked me to go get Dewey up because he likes to watch folks play ping pong. And he'll sit there and hold a paddle while he's watching. So I go to get Dewey up and I pull back them covers. Well, there's a blanket, a pillar, and a wet towel balled up under that main cover. No Dewey. Now, I ain't no Spectre Gadget, nothing like that, but I look over at that Myrtle Beach jar with lots of sand missing, and then I look at the floor. It is a trail of sand that leads out the door, down the hallway, all the way to the bathroom. Well, I push open that door, it's already cracked open a little bit, and say, Dewey, you in here? Kind of like that away. I feel like I got to be getting close, even though the search just started. And as the door opens, ain't nobody in there. Just a trail of sand that leads over to the toilet. Then the sand is a little wet over there. Didn't want to think about that too long. And then the trail leaves the bathroom and keeps going down the hallway. Well, I know it is only a matter of time before I was going to find him. He's got a trail of sand showing the way. So I'm following, and that sand lead out the front door of the nursing home. Uh-oh. I'm thinking, Dewey cannot escape. That ain't good. I push open that front door, and I follow that trail of sand left Now, I know I can't be too far behind Dewey, and this sand will take me right to him. It's just a matter of time, but I want to find him quick. Got to make sure everybody's accounted for and everybody's safe and sound. And, different folks like to, Doreen Fundle likes to try to make a run for it every now and then, and Dewey Morton do too. So I followed that trail to a little sitting area with the benches out front where folks go out to get some sun, and there in a pile next to a bench is a pair of sweat breeches with sand coming out the pockets. There was no Dewey attached to them sweat breeches. Now that's kind of the extent of my detective abilities. Like, follow the sand trail and then Dewey, he gonna be there. But I followed the sand trail and found Dewey's sweat breeches. So somewhere around here is Dewey Morton in sneakers, tighty whities, and signature cardigan. That's what he liked to wear when he ain't wearing coveralls. You might recall that Dewey's the one who took off with the snow machine the day of the Winter Wonderland in December. Well, I knowed where I already walked, and he wasn't there. So I picked up Dewey's pants and just kept going, along the front of the nursing home, and turned left at the end to just go around back. I was hoping Dewey just stayed on the property, because it ain't a good look for anybody. It's going to be embarrassing for Dewey, for his family, and then just us at the nursing home who's supposed to keep an eye on him. Didn't know that he'd be sneaking out like that, he's sharp. Sure enough, I turned that corner, though, and there's Dewey standing at a plate glass sliding door wearing a cardigan, sneakers, and running shorts, holding a ping pong paddle, looking into the rec room where folks is playing cards and ping pong and all that. I was so thrilled to see that Dewey had running shorts underneath them sweat breeches that had them holes in the pockets. About that time, Cricket came out the back door there of the nursing home. She said, "Dewey, you want to come in and watch?" And he smiled and, followed her in like that away. She stopped and looked at me holding a pair of sweat breeches. And she's like, "Is everything okay, Tavin?" I said, "I think Dewey got hot," as I hold up them sweats, kind of letting her know they ain't mine. I'm just holding a pair of backup sweat breeches for myself here in my volunteer shift at the nursing home. And enough stuff happens around a nursing home where you don't need a long explanation or any explanation. Cricket just nod her head, and go back inside. But I was thinking them things in my head, but, she just needed to see me hold them up. And I said, that's them. And that was that. So I followed him in there, and Cricket asked about my game, the softball game. She know that on the Thursday I would have played, and I tell her, I ain't sure who we're playing, tonight. And she said, "Well, I'm making potato soup for the concession stand." And so I said, "You got bowls?" She goes, "Oh, shoot, I forgot about that. Could you pick me up some bowls?" I said, "Cricket, why don't you just stop doing soup and all these things? Hot dogs is fine." Well, she gave me this look. It wasn't mad so much as it was sad. It was kind of like, "Why can't you just get the bowls?" Kind of one of them looks. And now that I found Dewey, I didn't have a lot on my plate. So I took my bike down to Rickard's grocery store and got some paper bowls for Cricket's tater soup that she's planning to serve down at the fields. Well, fast forward to the game. And turns out, like I said at the beginning, we had that bye week. So we did not play nothing. We didn't have no team to play. That's sport talk for, we ain't got a game, like you ain't playing. Apparently Russell Tucker knew, and anyone else that checks our schedule, which turned out to be Rance Barnhart and Mort Dwight-L, everybody else, we showed up to play and we didn't have no game. So where does that leave me? You guessed it. Serving tater soup in bowls at the concession stand with Cricket. And truth be told, not a bad place to be. We made a pretty good team down there. I'd serve that soup, and she'd ring folks up, take the money, put it in the cash box or whatnot. She'll talk to everybody, and folks like to talk to her. JT Whitlow rolled up wanting to chat, and he liked Cricket. Now he's talking with Cody Mantell's cousin, Whitney, and I think they might be dating. I don't know the whole facts. I don't really care, I'm just glad he's kind of leaving Cricket alone now, especially after me and Cricket, we had that talk. And so it's like we more serious. I don't see much more of her yet because she don't live in my county, and I'm still, I'm just now starting as spring's cranking up to really save for what I think is going to be a pickup truck. Because, that bike ain't going to get me nowhere outside the county fast at all. But here's the deal. Team Burger Shed, we still 6-2. It's not like if you have a bye week, they give you a win or they give you a loss, which I'm glad about that. You just don't, nothing changes. Nothing changes in your schedule or in your record. They call it your record, how many you won and lost. So Team Burger Shed, we 6 wins to 2 losses still. And so that was good. I think we only got like 2 games left in the winter league, and there ain't no playoffs that I heard of. Then spring season will crank up here directly. That's longer and much, much more serious. So I ended up with a full plate at the concession stand and a full bowl tater soup. And it was quite a send-off. For my last official day at the nursing home, that Dewey, it could have been a lot worse than what went on with Dewey. He stayed on the property. He hugged the perimeter kind of thing. And we had some wild stuff going here in the last week or two with Doreen Fundle. She had a little goldfish that died named Captain Thunderboots. And she wanted a funeral for that thing, and I could not believe, the eulogy she gave for that thing was long and senseless, it didn't make no sense. And then, she just grieving over it, so it was me and Cricket and Doreen was at the funeral, and then she flushed that thing. So her son Trot and his wife Sweet Wilma, they came down and picked her up because they heard she's having a hard time, with just getting over Captain Thunderboots, and she's like, I just want to get around some waters. They got her out today above ground pool. And they put them floaties on her arms kind of thing. And Doreen just floating face down in this above ground pool kind of thing. And Sweet Wilma, she got her arms crossed. They both just sitting, her and Trot are just outside the pool, watching, Doreen. She started to float and she asked them to play I Love a Rainy Night by Eddie Rabbitt, which I think is because, it's just this whole water theme, I guess, Doreen's going through with, I had fish, it lived in water, let me go float in water, think about Captain Thunderboots and all the great times we had and our friendship, and let's listen to I Love a Rainy Night because that's about water too. That's all I can figure. That's me just, Sherlock Holmes in it and putting the pieces together. But she was down there at Trot and Sweet Wilma's above the ground pool, out there on their property, listening to I Love a Rainy Night by Eddie Rabbitt, just floating face down. And then, she wasn't moving much. So, Sweet Wilma get a little worried. And she's like, Trot, I don't think she's moving. And she yelling at her mom-in-law. She just yelling, Mama! And, Doreen wasn't moving. And Sweet Wilma was like, Mama! And then she Trot. She goes, you get in there, Trot. She ain't moving. So Trot tried to wag his little fingers, toward he just lean over the edge of that above the ground pool and just kind of, hey, Mama, get out of here. You move a little bit, Mama, try and get her to do something. Well, Trot gave a little too much, He leaned over, gravity took over, boom, split open the side of that above the ground pool. All the water spill out. Doreen Fundle spill out. Sweet Wilma run over there and turn Doreen over. And Doreen's just now looking up to the sky. Her eyes are still closed, but she kind of smiling like she's fine. And all she say is, the song ain't over. And she was right. There's still another chorus left in I Love a Rainy Night. So she was fine. She got back to the nursing home in good spirits. And she's doing better, grieving the death of Captain Thunderboots. Now, Sweet Wilma and Trot, they just started grieving the death of they above the ground poo. I don't think the way he creased it and tore it open is going to be an easy fix. But that's the thing, man. I got a lot of memories being down there once a week at the nursing home, meeting all these people. And so that's going to change a little bit into the spring because, I got a full plate. I thought I had less on my plate this week, but you know how it is. You make a little room on your plate and you find something else to go there. Oh, they got orange jello? Count me in. I hope you're getting everything that you want on your plate this week. And I sure appreciate you joining me here on the Tater Dillard podcast. Now remember, I'm doing that Q&A, questions and answered here real soon. And so if you could just send me questions that you want get answered in the Q&A podcast, which will be here in a few weeks, holler at me. TaterDillard@gmail.com, or you can text me. You see the number in my show notes. That's an easy way to get in touch with me. And I want to thank Bee House Honey. You like them peanut butter and honey sandwiches? Well, you take care of that white bread and peanut butter and get you some Tavin's honey from bees over at beehouse.com. There's a link for that in the show notes too. I bet you're going to love it. Check them out at the link there. And check the show notes for everything else to get in touch with me. Email, text, you'll see both that there. And you can always check out the merch. I'll put a link for that too. But if you like that podcast that you listen to, which is the one I'm talking about right now, which is one I'm in, it's the Tater Dillard podcast. Take a minute to rate it and leave a comment. I thank y'all for getting on there this past week and doing that. And if you ain't done it yet, it means a lot. It's my online resume. Like, hey, this podcast's worth checking out. And then other people believe you. It's easier for them to believe you than me because they say, of course, he's going to tell me to listen to it. That's his podcast. But when you do it, it mean more. So that really helps. And hey, if you ain't got fish heads and sour liver on your plate this week, you doing pretty good. I sure appreciate you joining me today on the Tater Dillard podcast. Softball season just about wrap up till we head into the big spring league season. Until next time, y'all guys, we'll see you later.